Hello to those who just joined.
Video games, computers, friendship, the control. Video games, computers, friendship, the control. Video games, computers, friendship, the control.
Welcome. Big one this week, Diablo 2 by Blizzard North and Blizzard Entertainment. Now, most of you are probably really familiar with this. I played a ton of it back in the day. One of my favorite LAN party games as well. So tonight I'm going to be playing Diablo 2, and I'm going to be playing it on the BattleNet Asia server. So I'm going to set up a game. The name will be the game show. The password will be Diablo 3 sucks, because it does. So if you want to join in and play along with me while I'm streaming, go ahead. There's only room for 8 players, but I don't think we'll hit that. So, without further ado, let's get straight into this. So I'm launching from the desktop because I want to see the full experience. I'm running the game with a Glide wrapper. So Glide was a 3D API that was really popular in the late 90s and early 2000s. That was used by the 3DFX Voodoo graphics card. It was sort of regarded as the superior API back then. Oh yeah, 3DFX Splash logo. And of course, let's check out the cinematics, because that's what Blizzard has always been famous for, their cinematics. So the opening cinematic is The Sister's Lament. I must have watched this a million times. It's just so atmospheric.
So, Marius, at last I find you.
Tyrael, yes. Yes, now I recognize you. I should have known you'd travel in disguise. They're always watching.
I've been searching for you for a long time, Marius. I was rather beginning to think you didn't want to be found.
Oh, forgive me, Tyrael, please. It wasn't my fault.
Not your fault. Tell me, Marius, how was it not your fault?
The Wanderer Yes, it was the Wanderer. My days at the Rogue Citadel seem so long ago. I sought refuge from my memories in the company of other outcasts, high in the mountains past the Eastern Gate.
Do you want something?
Oh, I fought sleep for days at a time. For when I dreamt, the memories would return. Memories of the monastery and the evil which had claimed it. Dreams, memories. I couldn't tell the difference anymore. Had the evil from my dreams followed me at my heels? How had he found me here? How could this broken shell of a man, barely able to carry the weight of his own sword, be the burning terror which drove me to hide here? He seemed to have demons of his own that he struggled to contain. And he was losing. As I watched, I became convinced that I was truly mad. The terror, the destruction, the evil I witnessed. How else could I explain them? Were these the demons from my dream, or were they born within the Wanderer? Why did I follow him? I don't know. Why do things happen as they do in dreams? All I know is that when he beckoned, I had to follow him. And from that moment, we traveled together east. Always into the east.
Awesome. So it might look a touch daggy these days, I guess, but that was pretty exceptional in 2000 from a game developer, no less. Anyway, I'll get the server up and running. So Battle.net. So if you buy Diablo 2, you can get it on the Blizzard store. You can still buy Diablo 2. The digital version, it'll only cost you $12 Australian, which is really good. You get more than your money's worth out of it. Now these legacy accounts, they last for, I think, 90 days. As long as you log in at least once every 90 days, they just keep carrying over. But you've got to play 2 hours in the first 48 hours for them to stay. So I've already created one character, but let's have a look at the other options. So I've got the expansion. So the original characters are the Amazon, the Necromancer, the Barbarian, the Paladin, which is my personal favorite, and the Sorceress. And then the expansion, the Lord of the Destruction expansion, added the Druid and the Assassin. So I've got my Paladin here, and Livko wants me to go Sorceress. Okay, let's do that. Guest request. The Sorceress is pretty cool. So this is basically what Battle.net looked like back in 2000. I like this section here. So this is the news section, and what's kind of awesome is the last update was 2017, but you can actually scroll all the way back to 2003. So there's like a message in here. Yeah, there you go. Patch 1.13 for Warcraft 3. So yeah, it's a bit of a trip down memory lane. The chat is still, there's still people kicking around all down here. So it's, I think it's a testament to the quality of the game that there's still people kicking about playing it, and there's a bit of a community still going. Anyway, let's get the game going. And we'll do this one on normal difficulty because you have to complete normal first before you can go to Nightmare and then Hell.
Good day.
Good old Warrior Eve.
Oh, greetings, stranger. I'm not surprised to see you.
Now the story is pretty minimal. There's your 6 quests for Act 1. Acts 2 and 3 both have 6 quests, and then Act 4 has 3 quests. And they're all quite minimal. But what's there is excellent. And a lot of the story of Diablo 3 is told through little bits of dialogue, little texts that you find in dungeons. It's all sort of hinted at, and then the majority of it is told in those cinematics between the acts. So let's go to the Den of Evil. The map overlay was sort of a cool idea. I don't think anyone had really done this before. Transparent map over the game screen.
Evil beware.
The sound effects have always been satisfying. So Diablo 3 initially would have, the first game in the series, Diablo 1, is actually going to be a very different game. based on the original design documents by Condor Games, which is what Blizzard North was known as before they were acquired by Blizzard. The game was going to be a turn-based roguelike. And it's really interesting to look through that original design document and see some of the ideas that they were playing with and how they sort of matured and developed once Blizzard got involved. So the game was actually completed 6 months before it was released. And then Blizzard turned around and said, right, is multiplayer good to go? And the developers said, we don't have multiplayer. So Blizzard, they just created sort of Battle.net for Warcraft 2, and they said, we want multiplayer. And the Blizzard North guys said, we don't know how to do network code. So Blizzard flew a development team up from Blizzard South, which is another one of those studios, and they, in 6 months, they developed the network code basically from the ground up and added it to an existing game. Pretty impressive feat. Blizzard's always had that huge amount of money that they can just throw at projects. When I go sorceress, I always go as a fire sorceress in the first round. Because the boss of Act 1 is Andariel, and she is vulnerable to fire. So hot tip for young players. If you've played Diablo 3, you can probably instantly see the difference in the art direction. Even at this early stage in the game, everything is much more sort of a darker aesthetic. You know, there's more gore, there's more gore. The sort of all the sprites are hand drawn. Everything sort of feels handcrafted, and that's something
This place is trouble.
That's something that I think Diablo 3 lost by making it all cartoony and colourful. It felt like a game. Really broke that immersion. Diablo really created this simple, you know, kill, loot, repeat gameplay loop.
Not enough mana.
It's so simple, but it's still massive. Even today. So the gameplay loop, kill, loot, repeat.
Not enough mana.
It lives on basically in games like Destiny and Borderlands that have just taken it to this new complex level. But at its core, games like Destiny and Borderlands,
Not enough mana.
The Division, or whatever, they are inspired by Diablo. Diablo 2 perfected that. Leveling up is so satisfying. Need some more hit points. Now, being as old as it is, there are a million... Oh, that satisfying little gem drop sound. So being as old as it is, there's a million different guides on Diablo 3, and everyone's optimized the hell out of every character build. So any character you pick, there's, you know, a dozen sort of options of how you want to build them. I guess that's the part of the sad part about playing old games is often the player base is sort of they found all the secrets, they've optimized the fun out of it, sort of thing. So whenever I play these, I try not to follow guides and play them organically. This Diablo 2 was sort of, when I was at high school, it was, I guess, one of the, the it games of the time. I remember when it came out, everyone in class was talking about it. Everyone was talking about tactics all day, every day. It was just, it really was like it's part of that like early 2000s, memory. I didn't actually play much on Battle.net.
I need mana.
Which is the multiplayer platform that I'm playing on now. I played mostly on either single player or LAN. Playing multiplayer because I was on a dial-up connection. You could rack up the bills pretty easily, so I didn't play multiplayer that much. But in a LAN, Diablo 3 is just the best. I remember one LAN party, it went for about 3 days straight. We ate nothing but pizza and drank nothing but soft drink. I got, almost no sleep, but absolutely amazing memories. LANs themselves are sort of something that don't really happen anymore.
Not enough mana.
But we do have a plan to possibly have a LAN at some point this year. And I'll look to stream it, just do a stream from the LAN.
I need mana.
Sorry, I just had to bail from there. So multiplayer was huge, I guess,
mana.
comparatively back in the day. 99, 2000.
I need mana.
Was really when multiplayer gaming sort of exploded, I think. 99, you had the release of Unreal Tournament and Quake 3. You had in the late 90s, you had like Age of Empires and that sort of thing. And then you had games like Diablo 2. Internet was becoming affordable, and connections were becoming faster, and I guess game network code was becoming more stable as more people were adding it to their game. So it really was, this was the era when multiplayer I don't know what you missed there, but I was saying, I think my audio cut out. So yeah, the early 2000s was really when multiplayer exploded, and by sort of 2006, I think it was, or 2004, you had the release of World of Warcraft.
I need mana.
And around the same time, you had the release of things like Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and Counter-Strike had been big in the early 2000s as well. So it really was the era when all that sort of online play took off in a massive way. So this is essentially the this is like the opening sort of, I guess you almost call it a tutorial dungeon. Basically you've got to go in and kill all the monsters, and and then you go out and you beat the quest, you get a skill point, and you probably level up. Let's have a look at my gem. So in my inventory, there it is, the emerald, and that satisfying sound. I remember, so Diablo 2 is very much a game of like clicking to pick up loot, and gems are quite small on the game screen. I remember playing multiplayer, and you would hear the sound, that sound of a gem falling on the ground somewhere, and then there was like a frantic dash of everyone trying to find it in amongst all the gore and the other loot. Because gems are quite valuable. You can use a later item called the Heradric Cube to combine gems into better gems, as well as combine other items.
This cave has been purged of evil.
Look at that. Alright, let's return to Akara to get my reward. Actually, no, let's find the entrance to the next area and then I'll warp back. So I'm racing through a bit here. It's kind of annoying. I don't know if you notice my little inventory bar at the bottom here keeps popping up because it looks like I've bound my push to talk key to the same key as that. These guys are getting resurrected.
Beware, the evil is strong ahead.
So there we are. That's like the fast travel system for Diablo. Let's have a chat to Akara. So I skipped that dialogue, but she basically says, congratulations, you beat the quest. Here, have a skill point. Go with a bit more mana regen.
Hello. Welcome, Outlander, to our glorious hovel. I know you're here to challenge the evil
So
that's
this
driven
is
us from our ancestral
basically how
home.
majority of the story of the
Know
game is
this.
told.
Akara may be our spiritual
It's
leader,
minimal,
but I
but
command
it's
the
very
rogues
well
in
done.
battle. It will take more than just killing
And even though the
beasts in
storytelling is
wilderness
a
to
bit
earn
more
my trust.
in depth in Diablo 3,
My
you've got a
rogue
lot
scouts
more.
have just reported a
You've got a lot more interaction with the characters. There's a lot more dialogue, etc. In Diablo 3, it feels like a daytime pulp TV drama. Store that one for later.
Hi there, I'm Charcy. Good evening.
Look at that, I've got another gem in there. Didn't even notice that one. So yeah, the topaz does lightning damage in weapon. It has different effects based on what item of clothing or armor you put it in. Emerald does poison, etc. So my favorite build was a paladin, using zeal and equipping their weapon with skulls. So, and using the sacrifice ability actually. So sacrifice drains your health to do extra damage, but then the skulls would do life drain on the enemy. Don't know if you can notice that there, but there's a bit of a seam on the ground there, sort of like you can see the tiling in the game. And that's probably because I'm running this in the Glide API. So you might not have that issue if you're running it in just the native DirectX API. But I'm running it in the Glide because in DirectX I was having issues scaling the size of this display to match the stream. The soundtrack is, I'd have to say, probably one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. It's a guy named Michael Yulman. So you can actually get the soundtrack on Spotify. And he did the soundtrack for Diablo 1 as well, so it's also quite good. It's sort of like a mix of this sort of experimental, ambient, you know, industrial type sound mixed with this traditional sort of acoustic guitar. It's really, really atmospheric. Definitely the highlight. Matt Ullman did soundtracks for a few other games. I don't recall what they were, but I know he's done a lot of work with Blizzard. And say what you will about Blizzard, with their recent choices in game design, they are a company that knows how to do presentation. The cinematics are always exceptional, the voice acting is always amazing, the music is always incredible. So when you get a Blizzard product, you're getting, you know, definitely a AAA quality product.
I need mana.
Now the big rumor is that Diablo 2 is, big rumor is that a remaster is about to be announced at BlizzCon, I think, a week or two, which is something that people have been screaming for well, going on a decade now at least. And you can see why after the lackluster performance of Diablo 3, this game just has so much more spirit in it. It doesn't feel like... I feel like with Diablo 3, they designed a product to be sold first and then made the game afterwards. Whereas Diablo 2 feels like, and Diablo 1 as well, they feel like works of real passionate game design that they did well because of that. Diablo 4 is also on the way, and it does look like Blizzard might have taken a hint as far as the artistic direction goes. So if you've seen the cinematic trailer for Diablo 4, it's really dark, like properly dark, and like top-notch quality, as you'd expect from Blizzard. The gameplay videos also look to be emulating the darker style. Blizzard sort of kicked himself in the foot. That's not the term, but yeah, you know what I mean. Blizzard sort of ruined themselves when they released Diablo 3, being so lackluster. So many game developers went on to create, I guess, essentially Diablo clones that better emulated the style of Diablo 2, and the marketing term for so many of these games like Grim Dawn and Path of Exile was, you know, the true spiritual successor to Diablo 3. So in releasing a, you know, average game, they actually created competition for themselves. Yeah, Matt, so we're playing a D&D tabletop campaign at the moment, Descent into Avernus. And yeah, I think Diablo is that sort of, you know, evil, satanic, devilish sort of gothic look is definitely something that they do really, really well. And so I am incorporating some of the mood of that, for sure. Especially the later levels that take place in Hell. They really do capture the, I guess, some of the darker depictions of the place. That it's just a blasted wasteland of agony sort of thing. So, with that, I hope you've enjoyed the stream, the little bit that I've shown so far. I'm going to kill the stream for now, and I'll probably restart my my server. So I'll still have the same details, I'll still be running the same character, but I'm just going to launch into the DirectX API rather than Glide. So if you want to join in, I'll probably be playing most of the night. And yeah.
I can't carry anymore.
Until next time, hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you've enjoyed a bit of classic Diablo history. And please do join if you can. Time to town portal out of here. Alright, thanks a lot. See you later.